is Lamin Jai. This is News Review. Thank you for joining me on the show. Today, President Adama Barrow returns to Banjul after spending the last 10 days crisscrossing rural Gambia, meeting citizens there. It's circumcision season in the Gambia. Muriwangam checks how this year's season, the issue of male circumcision in the Gambia. She has been looking into that. Afisal also penned a memorandum of understanding with UNICEF. We have that. But my guest today on the show, for the first time, he will be speaking to us. Ebrima Tabora Manneh, presidential aspirant. These and more. Let's see first the newspapers, beginning with the Standard. Let's see their lead story saying woman demands investigation into husband's death in Gabon. A Gambian woman is demanding an investigation into the mysterious death of husband who recently or reportedly died in a Gabonese vessel 2 weeks ago. The woman suspected her husband's death was not natural. Ramotulai Traore said her husband Samba Saidi, 39, was a seaman, if you like, sailor, working with a vessel called Hawa, registered in Togo by a Gambian Sedina Dukure. That is the lead story there on the Standard. Tourism Minister welcomes new UK COVID-19 travel protocols, saying the Minister of Tourism, Hamad Ba, has expressed optimism that with the new COVID-19 rules announced by Britain, the next tourist season will be good. Addressing an audience during the Meet the People tour in Nyamina Dankunku, Minister Ba said tourists planning to come to the Gambia from the UK will not be subjected to any COVID test or quarantine on their return if they are fully vaccinated. Another story there on the Standard is saying 75 people died in road accidents from January to August, saying the Gambia has registered a terrifying 637 road traffic accidents between January to August 2021, according to the Mobile Traffic Unit of the Gambia Police Force. According to the Commissioner of Traffic, Lamin King Koli, 75 people died in these accidents there. The point, locals raise concern over poor road network, water shortage and electricity, saying as President Adama Barrow continues his Meet the People's tour in the Central River region, local dwellers in the region have raised concern over what they described as poor road network, acute water shortages and lack of electricity supply that continue to grip most of the communities in the regions there. We'll leave it at that for the newspapers. Stay with us. We'll take a short break and be right back. Welcome back. So President Adama Barrow is returning to Banjul after completing the first part of his Meet the People tour, which lasted 10 days. The president was in the countryside meeting citizens. Farouk Kamara reports.
A huge welcome for President Barrow starting in Kallaji. The president is returning to Banjul after spending the last 10 days touring rural Gambia as part of his Meet the People's tour. The tour gave the president the opportunity to dialogue with citizens on their problems. A huge welcome has been prepared for President Barrow beginning in Kallaji, where thousands of citizens received him. The president's supporters in all parts of West Coast region and Greater Banjul area have been preparing to welcome the president.
Depuis Barrow ñëw ci nguur bi ñu bari sansé na ci Gambia wa pissé légui jamm amna nit yi yépp dal ñu ngi am jamm ku bëgga liggéey ya ngi liggéey kenn du la di stop nek mom bala mo neex dund bi yomb adéquat bi yomb surtout na ci walu bay bi ni bu fi jappé dana baax parce que ñun tan dañu wara góorgóorlu liggéey suñu bopp ñu bañ xam ne lu ne il faut ñu jël ko ci tubaab yi
Not all are happy, however.
Meet this farmer store at the Amosiadal. Because for a laftaka elomandega ke politico tiban, for the mola elomandega ke politico tiban. But meet this farmer store, omu constitutional me ala theatre jail. Ukakele every year. President Rachel le karound kada banko mol jube, seno bunda be nyadil. But me make an kibaro to right now. Wala mu chengini laftaka ke abulu politico le. Ah, o confusion ben telephone balajan. Ndemu farmer. Ah, mu businessman oti, but mu farmer le fanal. Ah,
abe politics sensing. Abam fendi mola, mol man jambando soto. Abe politico dron, anin karawal lo ka opposition lo toni. Abe politico dron. Abe politico la, ate manta do kula politico dron be wol.
The president was still in Kallaji as at the time of filing this report. Fatou Kamara reporting for the Fatou Network News Review.
Welcome back. So I will now try to speak to the deputy spokesman of the National People's Party. He's also accompanying the president there, Mr. Sirin Jai. We will speak to him over the phone to see how the president's welcome or return to Banjul is looking like. Are you there, Mr. Jai? But I think he's not yet here with us. So we'll just quickly move to our other story we have for you then, which has to do with male circumcision in the Gambia. Well, we are in that season. Parents are circumcising their male children in the country. And this moment is usually marked by fanfare, masquerades everywhere, boys singing, drumming everywhere, going to the beach. Budi Wangam was investigating or looking into that, and she came through with this report.
Hearing this high-pitched cry and the loud clashing of machetes would lead most Gambian minds to the Kankurang, a Gambian traditional masquerade. One can dub it a coming-of-age ceremony or even a traditional rite of passage. But one thing for certain is that in almost every young Muslim boy's life, the old-age tradition of circumcision between the ages of 3 and 12 is obligatory. The Kankurang is considered a spirit that serves as a protector of both order and justice, and also an exorcist of evil spirits to the young circumcised men. The tradition includes daily festivities of singing, dancing, and merriment amongst friends, family, and well-wishers. Mejamuna, Patu Kendo, Mejamuna, Mejamuna Jumala, Jalibala Mumini Bayasara, Kanobe Muntole, Kanobe Leslie, Kanobe Muntole, Kanobe Leslie, Kanobe Muntole, Kanobe Leslie, Kanu Vera Leslie. The circumcised young men are usually taken to the beach to be ceremonially washed by older boys, which include former initiates, friends, and family.
Suma doomi mag ak suma seet bi ak suma ñaari seet laa yóbbu ñoom lay xarafal lay kontaan nañ seen ñëw bi ñëpp a kontaan because bu ngeen da ngay ñëw fekk ñu kontaan ni da ngeen ñoo gën a kontaan loo ñu leen di gërëm di leen sant.
ñu bëggoon nga sànni tuuti rek si yéen especially jigéen ñi nekk si kër gi fii aada bi lum doon si yéen nan la miin.
ñoo li aada bi dañ ko fekk di suñ taami maam suñ bu amee fii njuli dañoo dem saaleekum xam nga li doon ngeen gisee gars yi ñu nga indiwaale dañ ko fekk di suñ taami maam suñu xale yëpp bu ñu jongee nii la dañoo bokk ñëpp bokk benn xol benn xol.
gaa seen mbootam mbaar mi ñu defa ni xale xanaa ginnaaw yoo koy bégte bi rek ginnaaw inshallah rabi kay xanaa den uvala kontaan sa si xale yi nii sax comme loolu moo tax sax boo ñëwee sax afta si ñun dem bég den uvala bég sax la moo tax afta si ñu wane xara ñu génnee kankuram bi yota ñëwoon la comme ñun dañ suñu aar bi nu mel maa fi anga ni ku nekk loo mun tam dafa nga wane ko soo ko wanee moom ku la gis dafa bégte parce que ñëw nga am nga si bégte xam nga moo tax ma ne booy téye leen safar bi ngeen ñëw ñu toog ñu gën a am lu ñu perform sax.
jërëjëf man maa ngi tudd Kéba Mbuub nekk doomi géwél waaw xale yi nii man seen mag laa waaw yàlla def ne suma raka fi nekk ñuy dekki waat cosaan yoo xamante ni suñu maam yaa ko fi bayoon ñu jógaat pour dekki waat cosaan gi waaw. léegoo léegi xam nga xale yi moom léegoo léegi seen wérante daf dee lifin am na ñoo xamante ni ñu gën a ndaw dañ dee mën a teel a wér waaye lu mu la ko wéyee noonu i trier sax xale yi mun na noo génn ñu fu nekk nii sax di ngay séntu fu nekk nii mun naa wan ne next week bi ñëw nii bu si toppa soobee yàlla te bëgg naa nga ñëw si la xale yi di génn.
One of the major aspects of this traditional journey is retreat in the forest while learning about the rules of behavior, the importance of cultural identity, and the vitality of tradition. This way, they embody a sense of community as they enter into adulthood. With all the changes that urbanization brings about, these traditional and cultural practices are still performed throughout the Gambia. In fact, keep a lookout for it and you just might see or hear young boys cheering, clapping, drumming and singing as they follow a kankurang these days, with a good distance obviously, because you never know when the mysterious, unidentifiable masquerade will chase them while clashing its machetes. Reporting for the Fatu Network's News Review, I am Mudi Wangam.
So welcome back. Now I'm joined by Sidinjai, Deputy Spokesman of National People's Party. He is accompanying the President. The President is returning to Banjul. Mr. Njai, you are with the President. What is the situation? What can you tell us regarding the President's return? We understand you have a lot of people accompanying him.
Thank you very much. We are very elated. There are thousands of people who line up the street from Kalaji to Banjul. As I'm speaking to you now, we are still in Brikama. He has been in Brikama for the last 2 hours. And it's unbelievable. You can't believe what your eye can see. The number of people who came out to line up the street. This is unprecedented, and it is an application of what many have indicated with astute leadership. The leadership of President Arabara.
So these people, what exactly are they doing? I think we've lost Mr. Njai there, so we'll try to get him back on this show. But before that, AfriCell has also signed a memorandum of understanding with UNICEF. Fatou Kamara reports.
The event was attended by delegates from different institutions, amongst them the National Youth Council's Executive Director and CEO AfriCell Gambia. The MOU opened gates for AfriCell Gambia to join other telecommunications company in West African region to support the U-Report platform.
Today we are here 2 years after to sign the partnership between UNICEF and AfriCell. Today AfriCell is committing to provide free SMS services on U-Report platform and also to support youth development programs.
Ebrima is a U-Reporter and he explains his experience.
As we open schools, so I was also making inquiries about how the whole scenario happened, and then how some of the impacts the U-Report has in our lives as youths when we were home, and then some of the polls also we learned about during our stay in home, polls on COVID, on safety measures. So when we were home, we were not going to school, but we were learning with our phones without paying anything with the help of AfriCell.
UNICEF representative Gordon Jonathan Lewis dwelled on the impact of your report.
The impact of your report is evident. We cannot question it. It has been instrumental in expanding the reach of distance learning during the COVID-19 lockdown in the Gambia. Also, the poll on the perception of school children was used by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education to accelerate the safe reopening of schools in the country. Other polls have helped to shape COVID-19 response programming, breastfeeding advocacy, irregular migration, gender equality, among others. In addition, your report is being used to inform the October 2021 summit of the African Union and the European Union through the campaign Your Voice, Your Future.
CEO AfriCell Gambia, Mr. Hussein Jab Ganem, expressed utmost delight for joining in the change.
When we were first approached a few years ago on this U Report project, and we were presented to what the end goal of this project was, I was actually in awe, because something like this not only ties perfectly well into AfriCell's corporate social responsibility, but it also is coupled and intertwined into our goal of making a difference in the communities that we serve. There is no better way to make a difference than through the youth.
U-Report is a social messaging tool and a data collection system developed by UNICEF to improve citizen engagement to inform leaders to foster positive change. The contract looks at AfriCell providing free SMS services on U-Report platforms and also to support youth development programs. Fatou Kamara reporting for the Fatou Network News Review.
I am trying to get Sirinjai back on again. I hope we'll be able to get him and speak to him just briefly before I get joined by my guest, my special guest on the show today, Mr. Ebrima Tabora Manneh. He is an aspirant presidential candidate. He's seeking to run for office of the president there. If we can't get Sirinjai now, I think we will have to just shift to we are trying to get Mr. Njai now, but that is proving difficult. Well, now I will speak to my guest then. Mr. Manneh, thank you.
Yes.
This is going to be your very first time appearing on my show.
Absolutely, it is the first time. Indeed.
Wonderful. Mr. Manneh, first of all, you want to run for president.
Yes.
Not much is known about you.
Yes.
I mean, maybe a lot of people know you, but a lot of people also do not know you. Who are you? Where do you come from? How old are you? What do you do in terms of living?
Well, my name is Ebrima Tabora Manneh. I was born and raised in a small village in Bunyadu, in Lower Nyumi district of the North Bank region. I lived there, then we moved to Bara Esau, and I did my primary education at Esau Primary School. Then in '83, I moved to Banjul. I did my high school education there until 1988. I worked briefly for a year and a half doing business, petty trading, and with my father. Then in 1990, I went to the United States. I went to the Borough of Manhattan Community College. I did my associate's degree in accounting and finance. Then I went to the State University of New York.
Yes.
That's in upstate New York, Geneseo. I did my degree there in finance and accounting. Thereafter, I did some courses in finance and financial analysis, due diligence, estate agency. So I came back in 2003 after 13 years in the US. That's from 1990 to 2003. I started working with Deloitte and Touche. I worked as an auditor. I used to audit a lot of companies, mostly government institutions, parastatals, banks, NGOs, insurances, from 2003 to 2010. But when I came back, I was also doing my own business on the side. So whilst I was doing the audit work, in 2010, I used to audit Shell company. It's a petroleum company. Then it was acquired by Galp. So I was auditing Galp, and they had an interest in me working with them. So I went to Galp as a financial controller. I was there until Petrogas took over from Galp. So I've been the financial controller since 2010 to date. But I'm also a businessman. and also a farmer. So if you may, I enjoy farming. I would say it's one of my hobbies. I do like a 20-hectare farm minimum every year for the past 10 years. So far, that's my life. Besides that, you said about my age, I am 51 years old.
You are 51?
Yes.
Let me ask you this general question. This is a question that I ask every Gambian who has expressed interest in running for president.
Yes.
Why do you want this job? Why do you want to be president?
To tell you, for me, in fact, initially I never had an interest in the presidency or politics. I had a garden. I wanted to, retire within the next 5 to 10 years, go and be in my farm as a recluse, if you may, or what they call a Sufi, and do my farm work and, worship my creator. But what the scholars said, especially the Arabic scholars, they said, there's this saying, Hubbul Watan Minal Iman, meaning to love your country is part of faith, meaning being patriotic is part of faith. So I've seen my country, it's failing. I've told people I am, from my own assessment and my understanding and my analysis, the Gambia as a country is failing or has failed. And it's like we are in a bus. Yes, there's a driver of the bus. And we are in the bus, and the bus is on top of a cliff, a mountain, if you may, going at a speed of, let's say, 50 kilometers an hour. When we get to the edge of the cliff, we are definitely going down. We're going to fall down, meaning the Gambia is going to fail. So as a patriotic citizen, I think after discussing with people, like-minded people who share the same vision, the same love of country and the same desire to at least transform this country for the better, they had this trust and faith in me. So we agreed, we said, okay, we will come up with solutions. First, we have to identify what the problems were. And we've done that for some time, over 2 years. We've at least identified what we thought most of the problems were. And then we came up with solutions. And then we tried to look at other political parties to see if there is a party whose agenda, whose plans to develop this country is very close to ours. And we've seen, some plans by other political parties, but they are not radical enough. And to really develop this country, to avoid our country being a failure, whatever step must be taken has to be very radical. So then we said, okay, the right thing to do is we could have been critics, we could have been activists, but where we think we'll have the most impact is when we set up our own political party and try to come and transform this country for the best.
So are you saying the love or the interest or the liking for you to be president that started two years ago?
No, not actually 2 years ago.
A long time ago?
Yes. Well, it's like you look at your country, and we've all gone through this. We sit whether it's in the farm or in the bantabas or the people that we call VUs, we sit around our friends, whether it's in the offices that I used to work at, or when I'm working with my business partners and then we discuss. There's so many things that are amiss in this country. And since then, we all proffer solutions. We said, this thing is not right. It has to be solved this way. And then you have another solution for another problem. So those things have been accumulating over time, over the years. And it's just of late, in about 3 years ago, when we started thinking of seriously getting into politics. And it's in April that we really started throwing our hat, in the ring.
Since April, I know you have your own political party, People's Alliance Party, but you are struggling. You're having some issues getting registered with the IEC.
Well, actually, that's quite interesting because before we came, we did our homework. We had this belief that the registration would have been a very smooth process, simply because we engaged the IEC. We told them of our interest to register a political party. So they told us what the requirements were, and they asked for us to write to them. We wrote to them, they replied, they gave us a package, and among the requirements,